Hi, I'm Neil Mehta, and I'm a class marshal from Lowell House.
Hi, I'm Hannah Alberts, a class marshal from Mather House. We're here to introduce the man you've all been waiting to hear, Seth MacFarlane. In case you weren't excited already, we'd like to share some fun facts about our accomplished Class Day speaker.
Seth studied animation at the Rhode Island School of Design, where he created his first animated short film. Executives at Hanna-Barbera were impressed and encouraged Seth to move to Los Angeles to create and direct a short film for them. He worked on numerous animated series, including Ace Ventura and Johnny Bravo.
But his greatest public success came when Fox asked him to create a primetime animated series. Seth is the creator and executive producer for the hit show Family Guy, which centers on the comings and goings of a unique and hilarious New England family. One of the show's most beloved characters is 1-year-old Stewie, the precocious baby of the family, who, like many of you, plans to take over the world.
Seth provides the voice for Stewie, as well as for Peter, the family's dim-witted patriarch, for Brian, the family's erudite pet dog, for Quagmire, their sex-crazed neighbor, and for many other characters. He's also a driving force behind the animation, writing, music, and direction of the series. He has won 2 Emmys for Family Guy, one for Outstanding Voiceover Performance, and another for Outstanding Music and Lyrics. Fox canceled Family Guy in 2002, but the show's passionate fan base and stellar DVD sales convinced Fox to put the show back on the air last year.
The show's popularity among college students is unparalleled. On the Facebook.com, users both at Harvard and nationwide list Family Guy as their favorite TV show, topping others like The Simpsons, The OC, and even 24. Now, that's enough talking from us. We're ready to give Seth a traditional Harvard welcome before he takes the stage.
It seems today that all you'll see
are our amazing classmates and Jim Lair on TV. But where is that good old-fashioned humor
on which we used to rely?
Lucky there's our Class Day guy.
Lucky there's a man today who positively can say
all the things that make us
laugh and cry.
He's our Class Day guy.
Please welcome Seth MacFarlane.
Thank you very much. Well, I tell you, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a day like this than around all this electrical equipment. Good afternoon, distinguished academics. My name is Seth MacFarlane. For those of you who recognize me, I'd like to say, Mom, Dad, Paris, thanks for coming, but please wait in the car. Now, I know that many of you know me only from my voice, and it may be a bit jarring to see me speak in person. You're thinking to yourself, boy, it's strange to hear that voice coming out of that face. And in that sense, I'm a lot like Celine Dion. I'm not calling her silly looking, but if you meet her in person, I'll give you $1 if you can find her nose. To tell the truth, I don't even know why you guys invited me. I mean, this is Harvard. This is the most prestigious college in the world. I went to the Rhode Island School of Design, an art school whose only athletic institution is a hockey team called the Nads. The mascot is a giant penis named Scrody. Go to a game, I swear to God, I'm not making that up. Harvard has created brilliant throngs of doctors, lawyers, authors, scientists. I created a TV show where a vaudeville-era barbershop quartet sings a song about AIDS. Your grandchildren will boast impressive salaries and trust funds. My grandchildren will owe money to the FCC. But one thing we do have in common is the glittering jewel that is New England. Like many of you, I hail from this great region, Connecticut to be precise. And while I treasure my formative years in the land of chowder, lobster, and gonorrhea, yeah, That's 2 STD jokes in the first 5 minutes. I should have proofread this thing. I am here to tell you about the place I live now, the real world. There's no dress rehearsal, no take-home tests, no rough drafts. If you unconstitutionally wiretap people's phones, you will be taken down. If you shoot someone in the face with a shotgun, you'll reap the consequences. If you illegally invade a sovereign nation to secure oil interests and assuage a personal vendetta, you'll be reelected. But I'm not here to bludgeon you with my political beliefs. I'm not here to slam current, former, and undeserving celebrities. No, I'm here because I have great love and respect for this fine establishment. You see, it was always a fantasy, no, a fetish of mine to be a Harvard student. So for the last 4 years, I have secretly been living amongst you. Eating in your dining halls, attending your classes, sleeping with your women. And in a tragic case of miscommunication, sleeping with Lawrence Summers. Although, God bless him, the man has the hands of a prison doctor. And what I've learned from my undercover expedition into your tributary civilization of advanced physics, law, biology, business, economics, and weed. I know it seems odd that that would be a major, but it's actually very interesting. Classes are held at Cabot House. Dude, we live there, man. That's our house. That's what you sound like. What I have learned is that you like Family Guy. So I could stand up here and drone on for the next 15 minutes, but I know that's not what you want. You're like my mother in that you don't want to hear from me, you just want to hear the voices. So I'd like to turn things over to my colleague from TV Land to offer you his perspective on your progress. Greetings, citizens of Harvard. As I look out on this sea of black Asian faces, I think to myself one thought. Take that, Hitler, because we won. Yeah. Harvard is, pound for pound, the smartest of all your freaking schools. In fact, I hope one day my son Chris will go to Harvard. Okay, you know what? I'm just jacking myself off there, but, you know, maybe one of my kids. I mean, Meg's got the look of a Harvard gal, but I'm not sure she's got the, not sure she's got the brains going on. She'd probably do better at one of those real lesbian colleges like Smith or Yale. Now, I know all of you stuffier types are probably thinking, who the hell does Peter Griffin think he is, preaching to us? He didn't even finish college. Well, I can drink a case of Budweiser in 10 minutes flat. So stuff it up your dockers, Mr. Wadsworth Douchington V. But the rest of you seem like stand-up guys and girls. And tomorrow, you smart kids are going to be sitting there in your cool caps and gowns, looking like that owl on the Wise potato chip bags. I see you out there thinking, pondering, pontificating, using words like subterfuge, fuselage, and MSNBC. You remind me of many of the smart young people I know. Doogie Howser, Malcolm in the Middle, and Donatello of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we need more smart people like you, you know? I mean, I get into my car every morning and I think, how does my car work? What makes it move? I get in this thing and it just goes? How the hell does that happen? I don't understand. But you guys do. And for that, I walk in your fucking shadow. The next wave of great inventions is going to come from you guys. I mean, how many times have you said, I'd like some cheese right now? And before smart people came along, you had to wait for a cow to die and rot in the sun or something. But now, bam, aerosol cheese. Cheese that sprays out of like a paint can, you know? Whoever invented spray cheese had to have been a Harvard guy. Well, let's say you see a commercial for one of them Solaflex things and you want to order one so you can get in shape, even though everybody says you got to be gay to have a Solaflex, but I don't think you got to be gay to have a Solaflex. So you run and get a pencil to write down the phone number, and you trip and fall and hurt your knee. Well, before smart people came along, you had to sit there in pain just going, But now, Band-Aids. Had to be a Harvard guy. You know, I never stood in front of so many smart people before. Who knows? Sitting out there in our audience may be a future president of the United States. And when he's elected, you'll say, that guy? Barry? The guy who walked down the hallway freshman year with his nuts hanging out? He's the president now? The guy who crapped his pants at the Fly Club? And he didn't even go home after that? He sat there and had 4 more beers? And then he went home with that chick from Amherst? The guy who passed out in the showers and then we wrote all over his face with magic marker? And he walked around for 2 days with the faded word douchebag written on his forehead and he had no idea? I used to pee in that guy's shampoo bottle. And now he's president? The American people just elected President Peahead? But at least you guys will have the goods on him. You can call him up and say, hey, President Peahead, I peed in your shampoo, so make me secretary or something. And it'll turn out that peeing in some guy's shampoo bottle was the best career move you ever made. That's how life works sometimes. I like to think there are no dumb ideas. But listen, as smart as you kids are, don't get too high and mighty. Because I happen to know a certain sandy-haired janitor who's smarter than all of you put together. That's right. The guy who solved that math problem was a janitor. And we all know what that got him. A date with Minnie Driver on that big Easter Island hat of hers. Yeah, Minnie, I said it. Let me put it this way. You like apples? Well, your face is freakishly big for your head. How do you like those apples? Man, that movie sucked. So I know most of you will be shipping off to fight the war in Iraq. And others will be doing missionary work in Africa. But remember, some of you, that Wall Street is still an option. Don't rule it out, because it is a noble profession. Goldman Sachs needs people too. And here's a tip for you. Digital. Just think about that. The future is going digital. I don't know what that means, but just remember who told that to you. Well, that's about it for me, because I got to run. TBS is showing that episode of Different Strokes where Arnold and Dudley get inappropriately touched by the guy from WKRP in Cincinnati. So I'm going to pass it over to Stewie. But let me leave you with this piece of advice. It's a very simple piece of advice, and each person here will interpret it in their own way. And it is this. Good day to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to address the denizens of the hallowed grounds of Harvard, where boys can be boys, girls can be girls, and those in between can create student groups to feel better about their lack of romantic options. So, it's one day before graduation. That's one more night to get that roommate to kill himself so you can get straight A's. You might want to remind him how he never got laid and how these were the best years. Tap him on the shoulder and remind him that his parents didn't come today, and if worse comes to worse, push him out the goddamn window. Now, I may not be the hippest cat in the world, but I do know something about the way you college students think. And I know who your heroes are. And at the top of that list is a fellow whom you regard as the very epitome of the cutting edge of cool. The trends that he sets, you follow without question. And when he opens his mouth, you young people take it as gospel. Of course, I'm talking about your precious paragon of current popular culture, the Fonz. Well, let me tell you this, he doesn't know everything. He drives a motorcycle, which is incredibly dangerous. He wears his trousers too tight, which inhibits sperm production. And friends, if you hit a jukebox with your fist, you're just going to break it. So suffice it to say, I know how your minds work. And I know what you're thinking on this day of your advancement into adulthood. You're wondering to yourselves, what can I expect from the outside world? Will I find my niche? What should I know about the vast territory that lies beyond the confines of my little subculture of textbooks, ramen noodles, coin-operated laundry, and TV shows that seem to think they can skate by with random jokes about giant chickens that have absolutely nothing to do with the overall narrative? The boys at South Park are absolutely correct. Those cutaways and flashbacks have nothing to do with the story. They're just there to be funny. And that is a shallow indulgence that South Park is quite above. And for that, I salute them. But to my point, what is out there? Well, I can't tell you all the correct paths to traverse, but I can tell you some things to avoid. Number one, don't get a tattoo of a Chinese character on your fanny if you don't understand the language. Tattoo removal services are making a killing off of people's stupidity because little Miss Individuality walks into the tattoo parlor and gets an Asian symbol she thinks means spiritual woman, but that she later finds out means sugar substitute. Number two, don't be taken in by idiotic popular songs that profess to be deeper than they are. Last year, Gwen Stefani released a little ditty entitled Hollaback Girl. A few weeks later, she was asked during an interview, "What does Hollaback Girl mean?" To which she replied, "What do you think it means?" So apparently, each one of us is invited to create our own translation for what she is saying to us. My translation is, hey Stewie, it's Gwen. Would you please send me a bird flu sandwich?" Number three, stay away from the church. In the battle over science versus religion, science offers credible evidence for all the serious claims it makes. The church says, "Oh, it's right here in this book. See, the one written by people who thought the sun was magic?" I, for one, would like to see some proof that there is a God. And if you say a baby's smile, I'm going to kick you right in the stomach. Number four, always have at least one friend who's a Jew. Number five, do not create a television series about a group of people who crash land on an island if you don't know where you're going with it. Don't just make it up as you go along, because if you do, it's going to start sucking very quickly. I'm talking, of course, about Desperate Housewives, which is just awful. Terry Hatcher, you're a beautiful woman, but please grow old gracefully and without the facial work. You're not allowed to have an exoskeleton unless you're a beetle. Number six, if you ever fall into a deep depression and nothing can cheer you up, don't give up hope. Just remember that the man who played Mr. Belvedere once sat on his own balls and had to be rushed to the hospital, which is absolutely hilarious. Number seven, do not get into politics in Florida because you might accidentally run into Catherine Harris. This is a woman who could stand next to Hitler and people would say, "Who's the bitch?" Number eight, do not wear a wool cap indoors in the middle of the summer unless you are either a douchebag or Colin Farrell. Yes, Colin, I see you there with your wool cap. What you got going on under that wool cap, Thinking about your sideburns? Oh, it looks like you've got a little rip in your jeans there, too. Yeah, that's rebellious. Yeah, you're a bad boy. Society wants those genes to be intact, but you'll have none of it, will you? But you know, looking out there into the audience, I see so many bright young faces, poised and ready to thrust themselves into the very hearts of America's political and financial institutions and seize control of the levers of power at any cost. Some would call you elitist, overprivileged, and preening with a snotty sense of entitlement. I call you my base. Now, I can see by the looks on your faces that some of you disagree with me. You think you can hold on to those lofty visions of a life of nobility? Still have your ideals, do you? Gonna use that big brain of yours to make a difference? I'm gonna make the world a better place? Be an agent for change? Volunteer? I'm gonna get a job in the public sector? Sacrifice the big bucks, because that doesn't matter to you? Maybe spend a few years in the Peace Corps? Save the whales, maybe? Maybe join the Environmental Defense Council? Recycle? Gonna go and clean up a few rivers like JFK Jr.? Live in a tree? Volunteer for legal aid for the underprivileged? Go to Africa? No, you're gonna sell out. And now, brave graduates, I shall pass the verbal baton to our final speaker. Gentlemen and co-eds, I would like to wish you all a good giggity and to tell you it is an honor to be standing before you today at this fine establishment. I feel a tremendous sense of accomplishment being here because I've banged chicks in every school in the Ivy League except Harvard. You are by far the toughest to get into. I'll keep my remarks brief today because I'm meeting 2 women and an animal handler at Hong Kong's in about 20 minutes. All right. Last time I was here, I had sex with a woman at the New England Aquarium, where it's fun to find out. In fact, when I come to Boston, I sleep with a different woman every night of the week, except Wednesday. Because in Boston's historic North End, Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day. I respect education, and I've drawn deep inspiration from the classics. As my favorite poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow once said, "It's gonna tempt your tummy with a taste of nuts and honey. It's a honey of an O. It's Honey Nut Cheerios." And if I may, I would like to paraphrase Dickens, but instead of Christmas traditions, I am speaking today of vaginas when I say, "They have never put one scrap of gold in my pocket, but they bring a smile to my face, so therefore I declare them good." If there is one message I can leave you with this afternoon, it is this. Although you are graduating and moving on to those uncharted new frontiers of adult life, never leave behind that sense of experimentation, that bareback sense of adventure and openness. Stay young, keep looking at the world with a sense of wide-legged wonder. Giggity, giggity, and good luck to you all. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Aaron Chadbourne, class marshal from Lowell House.
And I'm Christina Adams, the class marshal from Quincy House. On behalf of the class of 2006, it is our pleasure to thank you, Seth MacFarlane, for your insightful and incredibly entertaining remarks.
You may not realize it now, but it seems somehow appropriate to have had you as our class day speaker today. For many members of our class, it was your humor and Stewie's wisdom that helped get us through 4 otherwise serious years of Harvard.
We consider it a privilege you are here to address the class of 2006 on this day celebrating the culmination of our Harvard experience.
In order to commemorate your first visit to Harvard in order to join our class, the senior class marshals and all of the senior class committee have decided to bestow upon you what we consider to be the greatest honor that any individual can achieve at Harvard or in the world: honorary membership in the class of 2006.
We are fortunate and honored to count you among us. In addition to this certificate, we would like to present you with what, for many of us, practically became a uniform during exam period.